Emma had always thought she knew what love was. At 25, her life was full. Busy mornings rushing to meetings, evenings spent with friends, weekends packed with events and errands. But her love life felt like a constant string of missed connections and shallow encounters. Swiping left, swiping right, endless dates that led nowhere, texts that fizzled into silence. Her heart, though vibrant and hopeful, carried a quiet exhaustion, the sort that only comes from chasing something over and over and never quite reaching it. She often wondered if there was something wrong with her, or if perhaps love itself had changed, leaving her out of step with the world. Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. Psalm 37 verse 4. She reminded herself, though she struggled to feel it in practice. Daniel, at 29, was no stranger to frustration either. Tall, composed, the kind of person people trusted easily. He had a steady career and a sharp mind. Yet despite these blessings, his heart had been quietly bruised. Dates that started with spark fizzled without warning, and connections that felt promising fell apart for reasons he couldn't name. He questioned whether he was too particular, too serious, or if somehow he was simply unlucky. More than that, he felt a gnawing emptiness. He longed for something deeper, something meaningful. Yet no matter how carefully he searched, it eluded him. He recalled, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your path straight." Proverbs 3 verses 5 to 6. Fate, or perhaps divine timing, brought them together on a crisp Saturday morning at a local volunteer event. Emma was there helping organize a youth charity project, her usual warmth drawing smiles from the children she worked with. Daniel was assisting with logistics, quietly coordinating supplies, and ensuring everything ran smoothly. Their first interaction was accidental, a shared laugh over a misplaced stack of donation boxes, but it carried a weight neither had expected. There was no grand declaration of love, no instant chemistry. Instead, there was a quiet pull, an inexplicable sense of rightness that both found themselves returning to in thought long after the event ended. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Matthew 6 verse 21. They would later reflect, realizing their hearts were beginning to treasure something deeper than mere attraction. As they continued to meet, sometimes in passing, sometimes by design, Emma began to notice subtleties in Daniel's character. His humor wasn't just clever, it was kind, gentle, unhurried. And Daniel noticed Emma's kindness as well, in the small moments. The way she spoke patiently to a struggling volunteer, the way she remembered each child's name, the soft integrity in her laughter. Neither understood fully why their hearts were drawn to one another, but the awareness of something significant stirring was undeniable. Do everything in love, 1 Corinthians 16 verse 14, became a quiet mantra as their interactions deepened. Yet, both were deeply entangled in the chaos of modern dating. Emma reflected often on the endless cycle she had fallen into. Instant gratification overshadowing lasting value, superficial attraction masquerading as connection, and self-centered desires clouding judgment. Daniel wrestled with similar patterns. He had chased what he thought would make him happy. Casual flings, dates arranged hastily through apps, connections driven more by convenience than conviction, and yet the emptiness remained. Every failed attempt left him questioning not only his choices, but the very framework of love he had been taught to trust. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Romans 12 verse 2. Daniel reminded himself, longing to break free from patterns that led nowhere. Emma had once gone on a date with someone who seemed perfect on paper. Successful, charming, effortlessly funny. The evening started with a lavish dinner, dim candlelight, and laughter that felt intoxicating. But by the second hour, she noticed a subtle emptiness. The conversation skimmed over her values, her dreams, even the things that mattered most to her. He was interested in charm and surface-level attraction, and though she laughed at his jokes, she felt a quiet loneliness creep in. That night, she realized how easy it was to be swept away by romance that looked dazzling but lacked depth. Daniel remembered a similar encounter with a co-worker. They had shared late-night drinks after a stressful project, the kind of flirtation that felt thrilling because it was illicit and exciting. The next morning, though, he couldn't shake the discomfort. The connection was fiery and immediate, but fleeting. He realized he had been drawn to the thrill, not the person, and in that excitement, he had ignored his deeper instincts, his desire for a meaningful partnership grounded in shared values. Flee from youthful passions and pursue righteousness, faith, love, and peace. 2 Timothy 2 verse 22. There were nights when Emma and Daniel separately found themselves lost in the glow of texting games, endless messaging emojis, late-night calls that left them exhilarated in the moment, but empty by sunrise. She had a string of almost relationships with people who were good at making her feel seen, but not really known. Daniel had friends who dated casually, chasing excitement and novelty, swapping partners as if love were a game to win rather than a commitment to nurture. Both could feel how tempting and seductive this cycle was, and how it quietly shaped expectations and habits. Set your minds on things above, not on earthly things. Colossians 3 verse 2. Emma remembered one Friday night when a popular guy from her gym invited her out to a rooftop bar. The view of the city was breathtaking, cocktails sparkled, music pulsed, and every detail seemed designed to dazzle. He was charming, attentive, and fun, but she noticed that every topic quickly circled back to him. His achievements, his vacations, his latest conquests. She laughed along, flirted just enough to keep the spark alive, yet inside, a quiet voice whispered that excitement alone wasn't enough. Daniel had a similar experience at a friend's party. A woman he had casually met at work was there, her laughter infectious, her presence magnetic. They danced close, shared inside jokes, and for hours, it felt like a connection was blooming. But later, when the party ended, the feelings didn't linger. They vanished into the night. Daniel realized the attraction was tied to the environment, the music, the energy around them, rather than anything lasting between them. The thrill was undeniable, but it left him questioning whether he was chasing chemistry or substance. Emma also explored dating apps, thinking they might offer a shortcut to finding the right one. Endless swipes, witty opening lines, and constant messaging felt exhilarating at first. Some matches were flirtatious and fun, making her feel wanted, desired, and alive. But many led to awkward encounters or ghosting. She began to notice a pattern. The people she met were often polished, entertaining, but lacking depth. Behind each glowing profile was someone searching for the same excitement, and Emma felt how easy it was for both hearts and intentions to get lost in curated images and fleeting charm. Test all things. Hold fast what is good. 1 Thessalonians 5 verse 21. Daniel, too, experienced the highs and lows of online dating. One match seemed perfect. Aligned interests, shared humor, and engaging conversations that stretched late into the night. But when they met in person, the energy shifted. Texting chemistry didn't translate to real-life compatibility. The connection fizzled quickly, leaving Daniel frustrated and discouraged. He started to recognize a painful truth. Attraction and compatibility are not always the same, and pursuing fun alone could leave him empty, despite all appearances of success. Do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. 2 Corinthians 6 verse 14. Even their friends' relationships served as cautionary mirrors. Emma watched one friend get caught in a whirlwind romance that looked enviable on social media. Vacations, lavish gifts, endless selfies. But privately, the couple constantly fought over jealousy, miscommunication, and unmet expectations. Daniel saw a co-worker happily dating someone for months, only to discover fundamental differences in values, leaving both hearts bruised. These examples reinforced a growing realization in Emma and Daniel. The world's version of romance could be intoxicating, glamorous, and fun, but it often lacked the foundation needed to endure. It was in the quiet of their separate lives that both began to sense something deeper. Emma, lying in bed one night after yet another fruitless date, whispered a prayer she hadn't dared to articulate before. "God," she said softly, almost hesitantly, "please show me what a God-centered relationship really looks like. Let all I do be done in love." 1 Corinthians 16 verse 14. Show me if I'm chasing the wrong things. Daniel, too, faced his moment of reckoning. Sitting alone after a disappointing date, he pondered the pattern of emptiness that seemed to shadow every encounter. Am I looking for someone to fill a void in my life? Or am I seeking what is pure and righteous? For everything in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, comes not from the Father, but from the world. 1 John 2, verse 16. The transformation began slowly, imperceptibly, as both started to realign their hearts with God's guidance. It was not a sudden change, but a gradual recalibration, a willingness to let divine wisdom shape their decisions. Temptations were abundant. Emma was drawn to the thrill of flirtation and the attention of a charismatic, fun, but spiritually misaligned suitor who promised excitement without depth. Daniel faced subtle pressures from friends to compromise his values for quick companionship, the lure of comfort and convenience whispering persuasively, "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial because, having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him." James 1 verse 12. Yet through it all, Scripture became their compass. Matthew 6 verse 33 echoed in their hearts. "But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well." It was a principle that reshaped their approach. They would no longer let desire, convenience, or fleeting emotion dictate their choices. Every interaction, every decision, every moment of hesitation was now measured against a higher standard, one rooted in faith and integrity. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans. Proverbs 16 verse 3. After weeks of subtle encounters at the volunteer events and occasional coffee meetups, Daniel found himself unable to ignore the pull he felt toward Emma. One crisp Saturday morning, after a shared moment laughing over a logistical mishap with a youth charity project, he took a deep breath and asked, his voice calm but earnest, "Emma, would you like to go out with me sometime? Dinner, maybe a walk afterward?" Emma's heart skipped. She had felt the same stirrings, the unusual sense of comfort and connection that she had rarely experienced with anyone else. She smiled a genuine, unguarded smile and nodded. "I'd like that, Daniel." Their first date was simple but meaningful. A quiet bistro with warm lighting, soft music playing in the background. Conversation flowed easily, yet with a depth Emma hadn't encountered in months of dating. They shared stories of childhood memories, ambitions, and the struggles that had shaped them. For the first time, attraction wasn't just physical or surface level. It was anchored in authenticity, kindness, and mutual respect. As their dates continued over the next few weeks, Daniel and Emma began discovering the nuances of each other's personalities. They laughed at the same silly things, challenged each other intellectually, and supported each other's spiritual reflections. A simple walk in the park or a coffee together became a space where hearts aligned more than just for romance. It became a safe place for growth, reflection, and encouragement. Through this early phase of dating, both Emma and Daniel recognized a pattern they hadn't anticipated. The world's shortcuts to excitement, flirtation, charm, and superficial attention were nowhere near as fulfilling as the steady, deliberate pursuit of a relationship built on shared values and God-centered intentions. Each meeting, each laugh, each gentle disagreement reminded them that meaningful love was not instantaneous. It was nurtured, intentional, and aligned with a higher purpose. They began to communicate differently. Conversations moved from surface-level exchanges to matters of the heart and purpose. Emma and Daniel shared their fears and hopes openly, sometimes with trembling honesty. They prayed together, offering up their desires and uncertainties to God. And in those moments, the tension that once accompanied attraction shifted into something profound: mutual respect, shared values, and an understanding that went beyond words. The connection, once undefined, began to take shape as a bond that was spiritual as much as it was emotional. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Proverbs 4 verse 23. Lessons emerged naturally from this process. Emma realized that attraction followed alignment. When she stopped chasing what felt right in the moment and instead sought what aligned with God's plan, the right people entered her life naturally. Daniel discovered clarity replaced confusion. Decisions no longer felt like desperate gambles, but deliberate choices guided by purpose. And both found that temptation was easier to navigate because their hearts were anchored not in uncertainty, but in the steady knowledge that God's will was the ultimate compass. For where 2 or 3 gather in my name, there am I with them. Matthew 18 verse 20. Through shared prayers and reflection, the two learned to examine the deeper dimensions of their desires. Emma recognized her tendency to look externally for validation, understanding that genuine love began within her own heart, refined and directed by faith. Daniel confronted the impulse to settle for companionship without compatibility, realizing that integrity and spiritual alignment were non-negotiable. Each step toward God-first living strengthened their ability to choose wisely, to value substance over superficiality, and to cultivate a love that honored God rather than merely satisfying fleeting desires. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. 1 Corinthians 13 verse 4. By the time they began to fully embrace this God-first approach, Emma and Daniel's relationship had transformed. What began as a chance meeting at a volunteer event had evolved into a partnership rooted in shared values, spiritual alignment, and mutual respect. Their attraction, once fleeting and superficial, deepened into a connection marked by trust, understanding, and purpose. Laughter became more genuine, conversation more meaningful, and presence more intentional. 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls, one can help the other up. Ecclesiastes 4 verses 9 to 10. The story of Emma and Daniel is not simply one of romance, but of transformation, an illustration of how putting God first reshapes not only relationships, but hearts. They discovered that love without God is fragile, often driven by convenience, desire, or impulse. But when faith is placed at the center, love gains direction, stability, and depth. Decisions become less about fear and more about purpose, less about filling a void and more about walking together in divine design. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him. Romans 15 verse 13. Emma and Daniel's story continues, as theirs is a journey, not a destination. Their commitment to putting God first has brought them closer to one another and closer to their purpose. But the world remains full of distractions, temptations, and challenges. Each day requires intentional choices, daily prayer, and steadfast faith. And yet, armed with the principle of God-first love, they are no longer adrift in the chaos of modern dating. They are anchored, guided, and ready to embrace a love that is as eternal as it is beautiful. Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us. Ephesians 3 verse 20. Subscribe to Tale and Testament for more.